はい、ということでこんばんは。ということでこんばんは。ということでこんばんは。ということでこんばんは。ということでこんばんは。ということでこんばんは。失敗しました。これで OK かな。それと配信を閉じなきゃ。これだ。OK。お待たせしました。ということで、ウィットネスの時間となりましたので、やっていきたいと思います。さて、ここに隠された、おぼしき風景パズル、見つけらんないんですよね。多分、わかればすごい簡単なんだろうけど、あれ、あの穴とか気になりますね。穴じゃないのか、影なのかな。影ですね。まあ、見つからない風景パズルやるより、頭、ウィットネス検定やりますか。さて、こっちか。さあ、13問目までは解けましたが、14問目で時間が切れてしまって、ダメだったって感じでした。で、その時の気分というか、やってみた感覚では6分って意外と長いんだなっていうのが分かりました。さて、物理メモの用意をしましょう。よいしょ。これと、これと、鉛筆があってと。よし。OK です。では、やっていきましょう。 タップ ASD がまだこのキーボードだと慣れなくて打ち間違えることが多々あるんですよね。困ったもんです。うわ、これこうしてで違うな、こうしていやこうかな。いや、どうやってどうすんだ。2マスの逆に考えよう。2マスの本当ならここで2マスで2マスのこうか。これ通せなくない？また時間を無駄に浪費してく。ういにゃんだー。いらっしゃいませ、こんばんは。でもこの時点でもうこの曲が流れてるっていうのを察してください。 ってしまう。ここは3辺になってしまうし、こうかな、もしやるんだとしたら。さあ、一つ見つけました。という報告。お？このランダムが嫌ですよ。 ここまではなんとか来れるようになってきたかな。まだだけど、成功率としてはまだ2割ぐらいかな。はいにゃーちゃんにゃー。 お久しぶりですね。ニャンパスあれおかしいな。メモったところと違うぞ。あった。この時にはもうパズル、この曲が始まる時にはパズルにたどり着いていたいのに、こんな迷ってるようじゃ。思わずこんな状態。はー、クリアしたー。ついに、フィットネス検定クリアしたぞー。はー、長かったようで短かった。いや、でも、やってた身としては、すごい、 なんていうか、すごい栄光に終わらないクイズなんじゃないかって、クイズじゃない、パズルなんじゃないかっていうレベルで、ほんとギリギリで終わりましたね、今。アーカイブ何回も見返したいぐらい。ありがとうございます、まゆにゃちゃん。感無量っていう感じ。こんばんは、石ゆっきーさん。クリアしました。いつも皆さんに見守っていただいてたおかげでクリアしました。この柱の問題、こっち先に解いて、で、もうほぼこっちは当て勘で通したんですけど、こっちはちょっと仕掛けを見ながらやりました。ありがとうございます。で、ここが開いて、中身は、これからパズルを組み立てたいと思います。いや問題は、あれなんですよね。ちょっと、高音を多めにしたら、リップノイズがすごい乗るようになってしまったので、それがだいぶ気になってます。リップノイズ気にしないよって人は本当気にしないんですけど、気にされる方、どうしても嫌っていうのすごくよくわかるので、できればなくしたいんですよね。間違えた。このエレベーター上でよかったんだった。まあ、でも、明日、ちょっと、衝動買いですけど、まあ、あるものを買ったので、それを多分、明日の4時だから、設定を煮詰めることは多分できないと思うんですが、でももうちょいいろいろ軽減できるんじゃないかなと思ってます。刀は VST なんですけどね。いえ、バイノーラルマイクは僕の声質だと、どうなのかな。何より、あれですよ。僕の場合、ボイチェンを使って VST でボイチェンしてるので、ささやき聞こえとか、あんまり強くないんですよ。っていう感じで、あまり強強のささやき声が出せないんですね。なので、バイノーラルはもっと資金が溜まったらかな。そういう需要があるんだったら、やぶさかではないかなっていう感じですね。なので、まあ、簡単に言うと、ノイズリダクション系の VST を買いました。そうですか？ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。これぐらいの声も出せなくはないんですよ。でもまあ、これぐらいの声を出すのってのもなかなか、難しいわけじゃないんですけど、なんでしょうね。なかなか、なんていうか、出し慣れてなくて、こう、言いづらいと言いますか、そんな感じですね。 甘ったるいような声も出せなくはないようになってきましたが、それを持続するってなるとまだ修練不足といったところですね。ちょっと長そうなのでおしまいにしましょう。もしかしてこれなんかあるのかな。月の動きしかやってないこれ。延々とこれ見せられるの？ちょっと謎すぎでしょう。ということで、ここのクイズというかパズルですね。パズルがすべて埋まりました。さあ、これからは環境パズルじゃなくて、風景パズルですね。そうなんですか？もしかして風景パズルを見ていると色が変わるっていう類なんじゃないですかね、まさか。まさかな。いや、だって石ユッキーさんのおっしゃることってそういう可能性あるでしょこれ。悪名高きって言われるってことは。どうなるかな。ウイニャンがしっかり見てなかったのが最大の悲しみ。まあ多分彼女なら DVR で見てくれると思うのでいいでしょう。カラオケ笑ってくれると思うので。字幕くん荒ぶってるな。こんなとこに視点がある。悪名高き月とはこういうことか。つまりここを合わせろってことですね。
The store I was working in had seen better days. At one time, it had been near the center.
失敗した。
Many other New England cities. The advent of shopping malls had, by the early 70s,
なるほどなるほど。こっちでも映像が見られるってことは他にも似たような仕掛けがあってもおかしくないですね。
How many of you here have personally witnessed a total eclipse of the sun? To stand one day in the shadow of the moon is one of my humble goals in life. The closest I ever came was over 30 years ago. On February 26th, 1979, a solar
失礼しました。
eclipse passed
マ
directly
ジ？
over the city of Portland. I bought my bus ticket
すい
and
ませ
found
ん。
a place to stay,
申し
but
訳
in
ない
the
で
end,
す。
I couldn't get the time off work. Well, anyone who
あ、
lives
組
in
を
Portland
高きっ
can
て
tell
そう
you
いう
that the
こと
chances of catching the
か。
sun in February are pretty slim. And sure enough, the skies over the city that day were completely overcast. I wouldn't have seen a thing. That work I couldn't get out of was my first job out of college. A sales clerk at an old Radio Shack store in beautiful downtown Worcester, Massachusetts. On my very first day behind the counter, a
と
delivery
いうことは
truck
さ
pulled
っ
up
き、
to the front of the store.
三日月になっていたから、三日月になっていたってことは、ここが終点になるってことですね。
The world's first mass market microcomputer.
はー、
The
なるほ
TRS-80 Model
ど。
1 had a Z80 processor clocked at 1.7 megahertz, 4,096 bytes of memory, and a 64-character black and white text display. The only storage was a cassette recorder. All this could be yours for the low, low price of $599. The store I was working in had seen better days. At one time, it had been near the center of a thriving commercial district. But like so many other New England cities, the advent of shopping malls had, by the early 70s, turned it into a ghost town. Worcester's solution to this problem was decisive, to say the least. The city's elders apparently decided that if they couldn't beat them, they would join them. And so, several square blocks at the heart of the city were bulldozed into oblivion, destroying dozens of family businesses, including the site of a pharmacy once operated by my great-grandfather. In their place was erected a vast three-level shopping complex, with cinemas and a food court. When the dust settled, only a few forlorn blocks of the old Worcester remained standing. My Radio Shack store was in one of those blocks. Then, to add insult to injury, Radio Shack opened a brand new location inside the shopping center.
ショッピングセンターにしてしまった方がいいっていう考えのもとの人たちもいれば、逆にねえ、その商店街は残してでっかい方に移るっていう人たちもいるだろうし、断固として移らずに商店街を維持するぞっていう気概のある商店街もあるだろうし、なんとも難しいところですね。
Strangely enough, the few customers we had didn't seem to be interested in our new computer, even after the 16K
大丈夫
memory
ですよ。
upgrade.
僕もちゃん
In
と
fact, most of the
喋るよ
people
うに
who
し
set
ま
off
す
the
から。
buzzer on their way through the front door weren't there to buy anything at all. They were there to exploit a free promotion,
バ
which
ッテ
was
リ
the
ー
bane
血
of
冷
Radio
会
Shack
員の
employees
一員として
for
無
over
料サービスを
40 years.
受けに来ているだ
The
けだっ
battery
た。
of the month.
は
The idea of this promotion was simple.
あ、バッテリ
Customers
ー。
got a little red card upon which was printed a square for each month. 12 times a year, the lucky sales clerk got to punch out a square and give the
新
customer
品の
one
電
brand
池
new、
あ
AAA,
ー、バッテリーを
AA, C,
なん
D,
か
or
好きなものをあげ
non-gold
ますよっていうのをやっていたんです
Customers weren't
ね。
allowed to choose
あ、
just
違うんだ。
any grade
好
of
きなものを
gold.
あげるじゃなく
At
て
the
自
time
由
of my
に
employment,
渡すん
Radio
だ。
Shack offered 3 different levels of battery excellence. First were the alkalines, powerful, long-lasting, and
あー、ア
expensive,
ルカリ
hanging
電
behind the
池。
counter like prescription medication in gold embossed
今じゃ
blister
も
packs.
うほとんど
These
ア
were
ルカ
most
リしかない
certainly
っ
not
ていう
available through the battery of the month club.
バッテリーですよ
Next
ね。
were the high-end lead batteries, sturdy, dependable batteries, moderately priced, and prominently
電
displayed
蓄
near
電
the front of the
池
store.
はあれですね
These。were also not available to the battery of the
車
month
の
club.
バッテリーです
Finally,
ね。
at the bottom of the barrel were the standard lead batteries. These were literally piled in barrels, cunningly located way at the back of the store, in a dark corner near the TV antennas. Remember TV antennas? Customers who came in looking for their free battery of the month had to walk the entire length of the premises, past the CB radios and stereo headphones and remote-controlled racing cars. Nothing would stop them. On the first day of every month, like clockwork, those customers came in waving their little red cards. I would look up from my program and wave them to the back of the store. It didn't matter that the batteries were only worth 29 cents. It didn't matter that most of them were already half dead. They came, they grabbed. And as far as I can remember, not one of them ever paid for a damned thing. I was such a crappy salesman. I was young and foolish. I thought my education in game design was happening at the keyboard. I almost missed the lesson coming through the front door. Fortunately, I wasn't the only person fooling around with games on micros. All over the country, people like me were experimenting. Scott Adams was coding what would soon become the world's first commercial adventure game. Remember adventure games? My future employer, Infocom, was being founded, along with other legendary companies like Online Systems,
My future point
Sirius,
card.
Personal Software, and SSI. Those were exciting times. Teenagers were making fortunes.
ういにゃん来て
Games were cheap and easy to
ういに
build.
ゃん
The slate was clean.
ういにゃんはお風呂に行ってしまっ
But in
たのだった。
1979, the biggest news in
2時間
gaming
かかる
had
っていう
nothing to
から
do with computers.
お風呂長
On
い
the
に
morning
ゃ
of
ん
the autumn equinox, September 20th, a new children's picture book appeared in the stores of Great Britain. This picture book was rather peculiar. It consisted of 15 meticulously detailed color paintings, illustrating a slight whimsical tale about a rabbit delivering a jewel to the moon. On the back jacket of the book was a color photograph of a real jewel,
へ
shaped
ー
like
す
a
ごい
running rabbit,
本
5
物
inches
の
long,
宝石で形
fashioned of
作られた
18 karat
ウサギの
gold,
写真
suspended
か
with ornaments and bells, together with a sun and moon of blue quartz. According to the blurb underneath,
このウサ
this
ギがイ
very
ングラン
jewel
ドのど
had
っ
been
かに埋まってい
buried
ます
somewhere in England.
本
Clues
当かな
pointing to its location were concealed in the text and in the pictures of the book. The treasure would belong to whoever found it first. The book was called Masquerade. It was created by an eccentric little man with divergent eyes and a talent for mischief named Kit Williams. Within days, the first printing was sold out, and the empire that never sleeps
なんていう
found
か
itself
ウォー
in the
リーを
grip
探せ
of
的な
rabbit
ブームだったんでしょうね
Excited readers attacked the paintings with rulers, compasses, and protractors. Magazine articles and TV specials dissected the clues, floated theories, and followed with keen delight the reckless exploits of the fanatics.
エクスプロイツがあったっていうのがすごいな
Unfortunately known by the nickname Rabbit Hill, was so riddled with holes excavated by misguided treasure seekers that the authorities had to erect signs assuring the public that no gold rabbits were to be found there. Some hunters ended up seeking psychological counseling for their obsession.
カウンセリングを受
Craze
ける
leapt over the Atlantic Ocean
なんて
and
ことだ
invaded America, France, Italy, and Germany. It sold over 1 million
1970 年
copies
代
in
っ
a
て
few
すごい
months,
な
a record unrivaled by any children's title until the advent of Harry Potter. Over 150,000 copies were sold in foreign translations, including 80,000 copies in Japanese, despite the fact that the puzzle was only solvable in English. It didn't matter that the masquerade jewel was only worth a few $1,000s. Many seekers spent far more than that in their months of exploration and travel. It was the thrill of the chase, the possibility of being the one.
ウィ
Treasure
ットネ
hunts,
スの
secret messages,
話もなん
and
となく
hidden
それに
things seem to
近い
exert
と
an
ころがあります
irresistible
ね
appeal.
これ
They're fun to look for
一
and to
人
talk
の
about.
探索者とし
And
て
this fact of human psychology
こう
has been exploited
未知
in
のもの
computer
に
games
た
since
どり
the
着くって
earliest
いう
days. It finds expression in the hidden surprises we call Easter eggs. Atari's Stephen Wright is credited with coining this term in the first issue of Electronic Games magazine. The first Easter egg in a commercial computer game appeared in an early Atari 2600 cartridge called, simply enough, Adventure. By a sequence of unlikely movements and obscure manipulations, players could discover a secret room where the words created by Warren Robinette
なんか変なことしないと手に入んないものと
over
か
the decades, Easter
ちょ
eggs
っと
and
隠れてるだけのものとか
have become an industry
いろいろありま
within
す
the
ね
industry. Entire magazines and websites are now devoted to their carefully orchestrated discovery and dissemination. They're part of our toolkit, our basic vocabulary, the language of computer game design. Computer gamers may have been the first to refer to hidden surprises as Easter eggs, but we certainly weren't the first to use them. Painters, composers, and artists of every discipline have been hiding stuff in their
なる
works
ほど
for
ね
centuries.
イースターエッグはゲーム業界が確かに作ったものかもしれないけど暗号を埋め込んだのは大昔から行われてきたものだっていうことをこの人は言いたいことらしいですね。
A number beside his signature indicates how many ends are hidden in each painting. Picasso, Dali, Raphael, Poussin, and dozens of other painters concealed all kinds of stuff in their paintings. A favorite trick was hiding portraits of themselves, their families, friends, and fellow artists in crowd scenes. El Greco loved dogs, but the Catholic Church forbid him from including any in his sacred paintings. So he hid them, usually within the outlines of celestial clouds.
すごい話だ。
Composer Dmitry Shostakovich chafed under the political censorship imposed by the Soviet Ministry of Culture. His symphonies and chamber works are loaded with hidden signatures and subversive subtexts, which, had they been recognized, would have sent him to Siberia. Mozart's opera,
恐ろしい話だけど、
is filled
そういう
with
の
musical
を
allusions
跳ね
to
の
the
けたいっ
rituals
ていう
of the
人も
Freemasons,
いたってこと
the
です
ancient
ね。
secret society of which he and his mentor Haydn were members. But the most famous purveyor of Easter eggs is that champion of the late Baroque, the ultimate musical nerd, Johann Sebastian Bach.
ミュー
Bach
ジッ
was
ク
a
ナ
student
ー
of gematria, the art of assigning
Music
numeric
otak.
values to letters of the alphabet. A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, etc. By comparing, sequencing, or otherwise manipulating these numbers, secret messages can be concealed. Bach took particular delight in the geometrical numbers 14 and 41. 14 is the sum of the initials of his last name. B equals 2, A equals 1, C equals 3, and H equals 8. 41 is the sum of his expanded initials, J.S. Bach. These two numbers show up over and
バッハじゃ
over
なくて
again
バッ
in
クなん
Bach's
ですね。
compositions. One of the better-known examples is his setting of the chorale Vor deinem Thron.
へ
The first line of the melody contains exactly 14 notes, and the entire melody, from start to finish, contains 41. Another of Bach's favorite games was the puzzle canon. A canon is a melody that sounds good when you play it on top of itself, a little bit out of sync. Frere Jacques and Row, Row, Row Your Boat are familiar examples of simple, two-voice canons. But a canon
よく知ら
can
ない
employ
け
any
ど
number of voices.
有名なん
And
で
you don't
す
have
ね
to play
この
each voice
カ
the
ノン
same
の
way either.
曲っ
You
て
can change the octave,
カノン自
transpose
体は
the
パ
key,
ッヘルベル
invert
の
the
カノ
pitch,
ンと
play it
か
backwards,
日本では
or
有
any
名だと思うんですけど
Finding melodies that make good multi-voice
でも
canons
まあ
is a fussy and difficult art, of which Bach
どうや
was
ら
an undisputed
カノンって
master.
たくさんあるみたいです
Now,
ね
in a puzzle canon, the composer specifies the basic melody and the number of voices, but not the relationship of the voices. The student has to figure out the position and key of each voice, and whether to perform them inverted and or backwards. Bach wrote quite a number of puzzle canons. The most famous, BWV 1076, is part of a fascinating story. One of Bach's students was a fellow by the name of Lorenz Misler, founder of the Society of Musical Science. This elite, invitation-only institution devoted itself to the study of Pythagorean philosophy and the union of music and mathematics. Its distinguished membership reads like a who's who of German composers, including Handel, Telemann, and eventually Mozart. Applicants for membership in the society were required to submit an oil portrait of themselves, along with a specimen of original music. With nerdly efficiency, Society member number 14 decided to combine these admission requirements into a single work. He sat for a portrait with Elias Hausmann, official artist at the court of Dresden. This portrait, which now hangs in the gallery of the town hall in Leipzig, is the only indisputably authentic image of God in existence. The Hausmann portrait shows Bach dressed in a formal coat with exactly 14 buttons. In his hand is a sheet of music paper, upon which is written a puzzle canon for 6 simultaneous voices. In 1974, a manuscript was discovered which proved that this canon was the 13th in a series of exactly 14 canons based on the ground theme of the famous Goldberg variations. As if these musical gymnastics weren't enough, Bach liked to hide messages in his compositions by assigning notes to the letters. His initials, B-A-C-H, correspond to the pitch sequence B flat, A, C, and B natural in German letter notation. This theme makes its most memorable appearance in the last bars of his final composition, The Art of Fugue, published soon after his death in 1750. The word fugue comes from the Latin fuga, which means flight, as in running away. So the art of fugue is the art of flight, the art of taking a theme and running with it. Bach wrote hundreds of fugues, but none as sublime as this sequence of 14. In the last and most complicated fugue in the series, the first and second sections develop normally. This is followed by the B-A-C-H signature, and then suddenly, without any warning or structural justification, the fugue stops, dead in its tracks. One of the composer's 20 children, his son Carl Philipp Emanuel, claimed that Bach died moments after those last few notes were written. This story is probably apocryphal. The Easter eggs in Bach's music are a pleasant obscurity, known chiefly to professors and students of Baroque music. But in March of 2002, when this lecture was first delivered, those Easter eggs were the talk of the entire classical music industry. Sitting near the top of the classical music chart button was a compact disc on the ECM label called Moorman. It was performed by the Hilliard Choral Ensemble, together with a talented but until then little-known violinist, Christoph Poppen. The music on Morimer is based on a geometrical analysis of Bach's Partita in D minor for solo violin. This analysis, by German professor Helga Fohn, assigns numeric values to the duration of notes, the number of bars, and the German letter notation of the partita. In doing so, she claims to have discovered the complete text of several liturgical ceremonies included in the notes. The CD presented these hidden texts superimposed over the original music. The result was strangely melancholy, dark, haunting, and very, very popular. Quite a few music critics attacked this disc. They didn't buy Professor Thone's analysis, dismissing it as a combination of numerology and canny marketing. Their caution was not without basis. Numerology is a slippery slope down which many a fine mind has slid to its doom. Allow me to offer an amusing anecdote from my own experience. Back in the early 90s, before the
ちょう
internet
どそれが
took off,
2000 年
one
ぐ
of the
ら
more
いです
popular
ね。
online bulletin board systems
で、
was
そ
a
の頃
service
プレイ
called
してい
Prodigy.
て、
I bought an
まあ
account
まあ
on Prodigy so I could join a fraternal interest
う
group
ん、
and gossip
かなり
with
ハマ
fellow
りま
members
したね。
around the country. One day, a stranger
その
appeared
頃
in
は
our
英
bulletin
語
board.
でやる
Right
感
away,
じだった
I
の
knew
で、
we were in trouble.
海外のゲームでしたし
This
ね。
fellow, whose name
ま
was
あ、
Gary,
ウルティマオンラ
began
インを
spouting
1
all
年ぐらいや
kinds
っ
of
てはいたんで
apocalyptic
すが、
nonsense about
そのウルティマオンラインは
worldwide
日本語
conspiracies,
サーバー
secret
っていうの
societies,
があ
and
っ
devil
て、
worship.
そこで日本語を話すっていうのができる
We questioned his
状
sources,
態まで持
corrected
っ
his
てこられ
histories,
てました。
logically refuted
で
his
も、エ
claims,
バークエストに
and
関
tried
し
to
ては、
behave in a
その
civilized
日
manner.
本語人
But
口
instead
っ
of
ていう
soothing
のは
him, our
そん
attention
な
only
に
made him
なかっ
worse.
たのかな。
His
もしく
conspiratorial
は
warnings became
そこ
urgent,
まで日本市
approaching
場を
hysteria.
重視し
He
ていな
began
か
to
ったの
threaten
か、
people who disagreed with him. To coin a
どういう
phrase,
答えなの
Gary
かわ
went
かりま
all
せん
up
が、
the
そういう感じでした
But his
ね。
most urgent warnings
な
weren't
の
about the
で、
gays, the Jews,
と
the Rockefellers, or the
よい
Illuminati.
しょ。こんな感
According
じ
to
かな。
Gary, the
もう
greatest
ちょい
enemy of mankind
あ、
was Santa Claus.
あ、
Gary claimed
まあ、
to
そんな
possess
感
a
じかな。
secret
い
numerical
や、でも違
formula
うな。
that proved beyond a shadow of a doubt
こんな
that
感じ
Santa
か。
Claus was an avatar of
失
the
礼しました。
Antichrist.
で、まあ、
Intrigued, we pressed Gary to reveal
エヴァ
his
ークエスト
formula.
3年ぐらいやっ
In
たの
doing
か
so,
な。
we walked right into his trap.
で、ラグナロクオンラインとかが出て、ラグナロクオンラインにハマって、少しやっ
Less than a
て、
week later, the book arrived.
それ
Above
で、
an ominous
文
photograph of
句
the
を
Washington Monument
レベル
was
70ぐらい
emblazoned
ま
with
でやっ
the
たの
title
かな。
666, the final
一番最初は
warning.
ハンターだったんですけど
Inside
ね。
this
ハンターじゃない
privately
や。
printed 494
ハ
page
ンターに
monster,
なり
Gary
そうだ
reveals
っ
a
た
simple
アチャコか
geometrical
な。
formula, which he claims was
結局
developed
その
by
辺
the
で
ancient
やめちゃっ
Sumerians.
て、その後ま
This
た復
formula
帰した後
assigns
に
successive
文句をやっ
products of
て、
6 to each letter of the
歯
alphabet.
を
A
なんたら
equals
か
6,
けん、
B equals
小
12,
小方言でしたっけ？
etc.
あれをや
Imagine
っ
my
てました。
dismay when I applied this ancient formula to the name Santa
亀
Claus
島
and
で
obtained the
MP
blasphemous sum
ポットを
of
片手に
666, the
歯を
biblical
使っ
number
て
of the beast. I went on Prodigy and
XP を
reported to the
稼ぐ
stunned
ってい
members of
う
our interest group that Gary
す
was
ごい効
right.
率の悪いことしてました。
There could be
発
no
見
doubt
すればいいの
that
に。
according to the unimpeachable wisdom of ancient Samaria, Santa Claus
まあ
was、the
そんなア
Antichrist.
ホみたいなことしてました
I then
が。
went on to point out several other names which, when submitted to Gary's
で、その
formula,
後は
also
スター・ウォー
produced
ズ・
the
ギャラ
sum
クシーズっていうゲームをやってい
names like
て、
Saint
それも英語でしたね。
New York and
で
New
もまあ、英
Mexico.
語でもローマ字で会話できる日本人コミュニティがあったので、まあ、
Boston tea
たまに
and most
英
sinister
語
of
を
all,
聞くかなぐらいの感じでやっていまし
Gary
た
left
ね。
us alone after that. I got my $15 worth.
あ、
But Gary
この
was
パズルは
hardly the first
あさん
person
こんばん
to
は。
connect
いらっしゃいませ。
the Bible.
気づかれ
People
て
have
し
been
まっ
looking
た。
for Easter eggs in the Bible for hundreds of years. The Hebrew mystical tradition of
そ
Kabbalah
う
can be
なんとな
described
く
as a
こ
geometrical
の
meditation
おじさん
on
が
the
話して
Pentateuch,
るのに
the
触
first
発され
five
て
books of the Old Testament.
僕の MMO 遍歴を
Has made the
話していまし
application
た。
of numerology to the
だって
Bible
長いんだも
fast
ん。
and efficient. The latest spate of Bible searching was
それで
instigated
ス
by
ター・
a
ウォー
book
ズ・ギャラク
published
シ
in
ーズを多分
1998 by
1年
Michael
半から
Grossman,
2
a
年ぐらい
former
はや
Wall
ったの
Street
か
Journal
な。
reporter.
そこでも英語を多少学んで、エヴァークエストでも学んでっていう感じでしたね。
to form a message.
エヴァークエストは特によく学んだ場にな
By
るか
applying
な。
his skip cipher to the Hebrew text of the Old Testament, Drosnin claimed to
今
have
僕
discovered
が
predictions
ブロークンなイン
of
グ
World
リッ
War
シ
II,
ュを使えるのは
the
その
Holocaust,
2
the
つ
assassination
が
of Yitzhak
メインだ
Rabin
か
and
ら
both
か
Kennedys,
な。
the moon landing, Watergate, the Oklahoma City bombing, the election of Bill Clinton, the death of Princess
ま
Di,
あ、スター・ウォー
and
ズ・
the
ギャラ
comet
クシー
that
ズ
collided
が
with Jupiter.
途中でやめたんですけど、どうしてもジェダイになれなかったの
A
で、
meteor hitting the Earth
なので、ジェダイになれずじまいで終わって、悪名高い NGE って呼ばれる、とてもプレイヤーにとってはこう排除できないようなとてもひどいパッチが当てられてっていうのには僕は遭遇しなかったんですけど、まあひどかったみたいです。だからスター・ウォーズ・ギャラクシーズ難民とかって言われる人たちが出ていましたね。でそういう人たちはメイプルストーリーズとかに流れたらしいです。で僕は一方指輪物語オンラインをちょっとやってであまりこう深くやらずに1ヶ月の無料期間が終わってしまってやめて、でもその無料でできるモンスター側のゲームがあったので、そのモンスター側で戦うなんていうことをしてましたね。このおじさんの話全然聞いてなかったわ。さっきまでは聞いてたんだけどね。
We know he bought property in Stratford, was involved in several lawsuits with his neighbors, and died there in 1616, aged 52. We also know that during those same years, a man with a last name similar to Shakespeare worked as an actor on the London stage.
Windows 1000ユーザーネームとラスターネーム、一体どういう字幕なんでしょう。 Windows 1000っていつの時代の？
We do not know for a fact that the landowner in Stratford and the actor in London with a similar last name were one and the same man. We do not know for a fact that either man had anything to do with the poems and the plays. All we know is that those poems and plays have, in the 400 years since their composition, come to be regarded as a pinnacle of Western culture. The works attributed to Shakespeare appear to have been written by a man or woman who knew something about just about everything.
そんな感じでスター・ウォーズ・ギャラクシーズをやって、
war and weapons
そ
of
の
war,
後に何やったんだっけな、
ships,
指輪物語
and legal
か。
terminology,
指輪物語をちょろっとやって、
horticulture, music, astronomy, medicine, falconry, and of course, theater.
あ、ウォーハンマーオンラインっていうのをしばらくやりました。ここでは英語を結構使いましたね。
A man of practically no account
そ
at
の
all
指
wields
示
such
とかが英
encyclopedic
語だっ
learning
たので、
with so much eloquence and wit, so much wisdom and
あ
human
とは
understanding.
イブオンラインっ
For
て
the
いうのもやり
first
ましたね。
150 years, nobody questioned the
3年
traditional
くらいやったの
history
かな。
of the bard. Then, in the late 18th century,
まあ
Reverend
でも
James
ちょっとお
Wilmot,
酒
a
で失
distinguished
敗し
scholar who
て
lived just a few miles north of
やめることになりました
Stratford,
け
decided
ど、
to write a biography of the famous playwright. Dr. Wilmot believed that a man as well educated as Shakespeare must have owned a
面白
fairly
いゲームだった
extensive
と思い
library,
ます。
despite the fact that not a single
そ
book
れが
or
終わって
manuscript
からは
was
なん
mentioned in his
か
will.
適当
Over the
にやっ
years,
てい
he
て、
speculated,
で
some of those books must have
14
found
が
their way into
申
local
請し
collections.
たっていうの
And
を
so, the good Reverend Doctor
1週
scoured
間
the
か
British
2週
countryside,
間後に
taking
聞い
inventory
て、
of
あ、
literally
じゃあ
every
面白そうだな、
bookshelf
やって
within
みよ
50
う
miles
っていうのでやり
Not
ま
a
し
single
た。
book from the library
で、
of
3
William
年半ぐらいや
Shakespeare
っ
was discovered.
て、
Neither were there found any
結
letters
局
to, from, or about Shakespeare.
今復
Furthermore,
帰し
no
たんです
references to
が、
folklore, local
Vtuber
sayings,
活
or
動の
distinctive
方が
dialects
忙し
of
く
the
て、
Stratford
ほとん
area
ど
could be
やっ
found
てない
in
です。
any of Shakespeare's
次の課
writings.
金は多分更
After
新し
4
ないか
years
な。
of painstaking research, Dr. Wilmot
ってくらい
concluded,
です
to his
ね。
own dismay,
そんな感じのゲーム遍歴を送ってきました。もしかしたらどこかで同じような場所があって、そこで交わっていたかもしれませんね。
Inventor of the scientific method, Chancellor to the courts of Queen Elizabeth and King James, Sir Francis Bacon. Dr. Wilmot never dared to publish his theory, but before he died, he confided it to a friend, James Cowell, who, in 1805, repeated it to a meeting of the Ipswich Philosophical Society. The members of the society were suitably outraged.
Dawn of War 2っていうゲームに巡り合ってからは、それを1500時間ぐらいシリーズ通してやり続けましたね。まあ1500時間でもまだ短い方だと思いますけど、まあまあ僕がやったゲームの中ではMMO を比較しないのであれば最長記録に近いかな。その次がウォーサンダーの1200時間かなんかかな。結構やってますね。で、今、ニョキニョキ伸び出てるのがフェイスリグで、フェイスリグは今、1800時間とか2400時間とか言ってるかな。なんでそんな言ってるかっていうと、つけっぱなしで放置してるっていうことが多くて、いや、お恥ずかしい話ですが、なんかプレイ時間を稼いでるみたいな状態になってます。
Around 1888, things began to get a bit out of hand.
なので、本当、フェイスリグはすごい伸びてますね。
became interested in the Shakespeare controversy. One day, browsing through his facsimile copy of the first folio of 1623, he noted that the word bacon appeared on page 53 of the histories and also on page 53 of the comedy.
ドーン・オブ・ウォー2じゃない、ウォーハンマー 40K の世界観のゲームをいろいろと買うようになりました。実は配信でそれらをやりたいなと思ってるんですが、
The result was a complex and virtually incomprehensible algorithm, which he claimed was invented by Bacon to hide secret messages inside the first folio. The greatest Easter egg hunt in the history of Western civilization.
面白いものもあれば、英語で何なのっていうものもあったり、いろいろですね。
A bizarre research tool he called the Wheel of Fortune. This wheel consisted of two giant wooden spools wrapped with a strip of canvas 2 feet wide and 1,000 feet long.
そうですね。チームゲームっていうと、実は僕、長年の冒険15年持ってます。ちょっとした自慢です。でも1月17日の開始日には登録できてません。多分4ヶ月から6ヶ月ぐらいずれてます。
Employing a large team of
なの
secretaries
で、
and
こ
stenographers,
う完
Owen
璧に
claimed to have uncovered a complete alternative
私スチ
history
ー
of
ム民だよっ
Elizabethan
ていう
England,
ほどの
as well
人
as
では
several
ないけど、
entirely new Shakespeare
結
plays
構
and sonnets.
スチームに
Listen to this hidden verse,
見入られてる
supposedly
人って
penned
言
by
え
the mighty
る
bard
レベルだと
himself,
は思
which
います。
inspired Dr. Owen to build his Wheel of Fortune.
でまあ、そのスチーム系ってあとは200時間とかのゲームが多いですかね。
And turning the fickle rolling wheel, throw your eyes upon fortune, that goddess blind, that stands upon a spherical stone, that turning
ある程
and
度の感想は述べられるけど、 やり込んだ人のようにここがダメでもここはいいみたいな批評は全然できる気がしませんね。感想を述べるっていうことはできると思います。ついに半分を超えましたね。パズルの話ですが。
Arnsberg wrote an entire book based on the analysis of the significance of a suspicious crack in the tomb of Bacon's mother. A ray of sanity finally appeared.
まあそんな感じでゲーム遍歴はやってきてます。で、まあ自己紹介動画その2でも言ってますけど、シミュレーター、シミュレーションゲーム、まあでも信長の野望とかはやってないんですが、まあその手のゲームが結構好きで、でも月の横好き、下手の横好きかっていうぐらいでやっているので、まあ例えばオキシジェンノットインクルーデッドとかまだまだ安定してできる感じはないですけど、でもまあある程度できるようになったりとか、そういう感じでまあちょっとずつ進んでやってますね。まあ本当言うとオキシエンノットインクルーデッドとかはあれなんですよね。何が言いたいかっていうと、一応正式リリースされたので、正式リリースされたなら応援したいなと思っていて、それで配信したいなと思ってるんですが、他に面白いゲームが出たりして、あとは体調の問題とかもあったりしたので、なのでそういう問題があって全然できてないんですよね。
Walt Whitman, Henry James, Sam Clemens, Sigmund Freud, Orson Welles, and Sir John Gielgud. Living skeptics include the artistic director of the New Globe Theatre, Mark Rylance, Michael York, Derek Jacobi, Kenneth Branagh, and even that most revered and scholarly of contemporary Shakespearean actors, Keanu Reeves.The current leading candidate for the authorship is Edward de Vere, the 17th Earl of Oxford, a theory first proposed in 1920 by an English schoolmaster with an unfortunate name, J. Thomas Newton. The Bible, and the works of Shakespeare.
結果的にみんな楽しんでもらえてるし、それはとても嬉しいことだから。
Nobody's looking for acrostics in Chaucer or Keats.
だから後悔はしてないし、
of the secret chorales of Wagner or Beethoven. For the answer,
だからウータンがそれについてこう
which the Bible and
何か
Shakespeare have played in the development of Western culture.
悪いことしたなとかそういうふうに思うことがもしあるとしたら、そういうふうに思わなくて本当いいんですよっていう話です。
The King James Bible exemplifies the meaning of the word classic. It has been called the noblest monument of English prose, the very greatest achievement of the English language. It has served as an inspiration for generations of poets, dramatists, musicians, politicians, and orators.Countless people have learned to read by repeating the phrases in this, the only book their family possessed. Our constitutions and
実
our
はさ
laws
っき
have
こ
been
のゲームのマイルストーンを一つクリアしました。
imagery. But even the glory of the King James Bible,
それで、そのせいで、この、すごい時間のかかるパズルをやっています。おー、なるほど。ありがとうございます。嬉しいです。
Shakespeare's working vocabulary is 15,000 words, more than 3 times that of the King James Bible, and twice the size of his nearest competitor, John Milton.
本当面
His
白
poems
い
and plays were written
変
without
換
the
して
aid
く
of a
れるな。
dictionary or a thesaurus. They didn't exist yet.
はーい、おやすみなさい。
When Shakespeare had a thought for which Elizabethan English had no word, he invented one. The Oxford English Dictionary lists hundreds of everyday words and
よく寝
phrases
て良
which
い
made
夢
their
を。
first appearance in the pages of the Bard. Addiction, alligator, assassination, bedroom, critic,
まあ、
dawn, design,
リナックスとかユニックス系は実はほとんど触ったことないんですけど、
hint,
Windows に限って言えばもう
luggage, manager,
25年
switch, torture, transcendence,
そうですね、丸々25年触れてきてるので、
contains nearly
ある程
40
度
of these
は
neologisms.
わかるつもりですね。
Who today would have this audacity, this giddy exuberance of invention? Only one other English author even approaches
だから
Shakespeare's
マイニャ
facility
ちゃんが
for
何言い
coining
たい
new
か
words.
っていうのは
Sir Francis
ある
Bacon.
程度わかるつもりだ
In
し、
the modern era, the record holder is
この
Charles
場合は
Dodson,
こうすれ
better
ばいい
known
ん
as
だ
Lewis
ろうと
Carroll,
か、
who,
逆
interestingly,
に
also
こうし
happens
ちゃ
to
っ
be the
たら
second
どうなの
most
かな
quoted
っ
author
てい
in
うのに
English
関しては質問
after Shakespeare.
させてもらったり
Everyone has been profoundly
っていう
molded
感じか
by the
な。
influences of the King James Bible and Shakespeare.
まあ、あとは調
Like
べ
it
れ
or
ば
not,
ね、いろ
all
い
of
ろ載
us
ってる
peer
し、
at the world through the lenses of these great works.
リナックス13年は
They
すご
are
い
the
な。
primary source documents of modern English thought, the style guides of our minds.
いやー、リナックスほんとわかんない。
Dazzling jewels of wisdom and eloquence gives rise to an extraordinary feeling, a potent, rare, and precious
まあ、
emotion.
でも Windows も表面しか触ってないので、ポリシーとか何って言
An
われる
emotion
と
powerful enough to make a man
答えられない
abandon
で
his
す
wife and
ですし
children,
ね。
forfeit career and reputation, lay down
そう
his
いうのは
possessions,
全然触れ
and
てこな
follow
かっ
his
た。
heart without
本当
question.
ゲーム機として扱ってた感じですね。
Fusion of wonder and fear, irresistible attraction and soul-numbing dread known
気づいたらなかなかいい位置まで来てますね。
awe is the grail of artistic achievement. No other human emotion possesses such raw, transformative power, and none is more difficult to evoke. Few and far between are the works of man that qualify as truly awesome. It is awe that convinces a rabbi to spend a lifetime decoding Yahweh from the Pentateuch.
やっぱ
Awe that
そうい
sends
う
millions
ちゃん
of
と
visitors each
コアな
year
ところまで
to
触れてるっていう意味では、マイニャちゃんの方が圧倒的にすごいと思うな。
poor Delia Bacon to her doom.
僕の
Now,
25
please
年
don't
って
come
のは
away
そ
from
の
this lecture thinking that the key
触れ
to
ては
awesome
いる
game
け
design
ど
is the installation of Easter eggs. Ordinary games
資
with their
格も取って
contrived
ない
Easter eggs
し
and cheat codes are like the battery
た
of
だ
the
単に
Muppet
自
Club.
分が
You have to
苦
trudge
労
down
し
to
た
the
り
back of the store to
な
get
ん
what
か
you really came
問
for.
題が起きた時
If
に解
superpower
決す
is
る
what
っ
people
ていう
really
の
want,
を
why
目
not just
的
give it to
に
them?
動
Is
く
our
程度だっ
imagination
たか
so
ら
impoverished that we have to resort to marketing
まあ
gimmicks
だ
to
か
keep
ら
players
トラブル
interested
シ
in
ュ
our
ーティングと
games?
かを一緒
Awesome
に手伝う
things
とかは
don't
できる
hold
けど
anything back. Awesome things are
そ
rich
れで確実に直してあげる
The
っていうのは
treasure
で
is
きないし
right there. One afternoon,
だから
I
こ
was
そ
sitting
そ
alone
のマイニャ
at
ちゃんの
that old Radio Shack store.
いろいろできることっていうのは素晴らしいことだ
An
と思う
elderly
な。
woman walked through the front door. Like most of our customers, she was shabbily dressed, probably on a fixed income. I assumed she was there for her free battery, but instead, she placed a portable radio on the counter. This little radio came from the days when they boasted about the number of transistors inside on the case. It was completely wrapped
でも
in
今
dirty
回
white
こう
metal.
Linux を触る
The woman looked at me and asked,
まあ戦闘 OS を触る機会を
I
設けて
unwrapped
くれ
the
た
medical
から
tape, peeling away the layers until the back cover of the radio fell off, accompanied by a cloud of red dust. The interior of the radio was half-eaten
そ
away
う、そういう
by battery
意味ではいい機会を作ってもらったなーって思ってます。
I looked at the old woman. I looked back at the radio. I reached behind me, where the expensive alkaline batteries were hanging like prescription medication, and removed a gleaming 9-volt cell from its gold blister pack. Then I pulled a brand new transistor radio from a box, installed the alkaline, and helped the lady find her favorite station. No money changed hands. She left the store without saying a word. Awesome things are kind of like that. Bach offered his students very specific insight
話がこれで終わったのかと思ったらまだ続いてた。
In addition to BACH, 2 other sets of initials are also associated with Bach's music. These initials are not hidden in the notes. Instead, they're scrawled right across the top of the manuscript for the whole world to see. The initials are SDG and JJ. SDG stands for the Latin phrase Sole Deo Gloria, to the glory of God alone. JJ stands for Jesu Jufa. Help me, Jesus. Bach wrote all of his great masterpieces sub specie eternitatis, under the aspect of eternity. He did not compose only to please his sponsors or to win the approval of an audience. His work was his worship. Bach once wrote, "Music should have no other end and aim than the glory of God and the recreation of the soul. Where this is not kept in mind, there is no true music, but only an infernal clamor and rampage. The name of the power that moves you is not important. What is important is that you are moved. Awe is the foundation of religion. No other motivation can free you from the limits of personal achievement. Nothing else can teach you the art of flight." Computer games are barely 40 years old. Only a few words in our basic vocabulary have been established. A whole dictionary is waiting to be coined. The slate is clean. Someday soon, perhaps even in our lifetime,
本当に行って
a
みる
game
の
design will appear that will flash across our culture like lightning. It will be
ア
easy
チー
to
ブメント
recognize.
なりませ
It
ん。
will
や
be
だ。
generous, giddy with exuberant inventiveness. Scholars will pick it apart for decades, perhaps centuries. It will be something wonderful, something terrifying, something awful. A few years ago, I was invited to speak at a conference in London. My wife joined me, and we took a day off for some sightseeing. We
配
decided to
信で
visit
このパ
England's
ズル
second
や
biggest
るっ
tourist
て
attraction,
すごい辛いんだけ
Stratford
ど
upon Avon. It was cold and rainy.
何が辛いって、配信者はいいんだけど、リスナーさんをこう、困らせないために会話をするのはいいんだけど、
A charming old house along the main street,
リ
which
スナー
attracts
さんは
millions
待
of
ち続
pilgrims
けなけれ
every
ばい
year.
けないっていう
Despite
状
the
態に
complete
陥ら
lack
せ
of
るのが
evidence
本当
that
に困
Shakespeare
る。
was born there or even lived anywhere near it. We went past the school where Shakespeare learned to read and write.
この人一体何を待ってるのみたいな状態になっちゃうし。
We visited Anne Hathaway's cottage, the rustic country farm where his wife spent her childhood, although no record shows anyone by that name ever having lived there. Finally, we came to the one location undeniably associated with Shakespeare, Trinity Parish Church, on the banks of the River Avon, where a man by that name is buried. This beautiful church is approached by a long walkway between rows of ancient gravestones, shaded by tall trees. The entrance door is surprisingly tiny. No cameras are allowed inside. The interior is dark and quiet. Despite the presence of busloads of tourists, the atmosphere is hushed and respectful. A few people are seated in the pews, deep in prayer. An aisle leads up the center of the church. The left side of the altar is brightly illuminated. On the wall above is a famous bust of the bard, quill in hand, gazing serenely at the crowd of pilgrims. On the floor beneath, surrounded by bouquets of flowers, at the very spot where Delia Bacon lost her mind, the gravestone of William Shakespeare bears this dire warning. Good friend, for Jesus' sake, forbear to dig the dust enclosed here. Blessed be the man who spares these stones, and cursed be he that moves my bones. Every year, 3 million pilgrims arrive from every nation on earth to approach this stone and consider the likeness of a man whose body of work can only be described as awesome. By contrast, the right side of the altar is dark and featureless. Nobody of any consequence is buried there. The only point of interest is a wooden case of simple design, carved of dark oak. Inside the case, sealed beneath a thick sheet of glass, lies a large open book. A plaque on the case identifies this book as a first edition of the King James Bible, published in 1611, when Shakespeare was 46. Not many pilgrims visit this side of the altar. Most of those that do simply glance at the book, read the plaque, and move along. A few, more observant, note that the Bible happens to be opened to a page in the Old Testament, the book of Psalms, chapter 36. No explanation is given for this particular choice of pages. For the initiated, none is necessary. If you are of inquisitive bent, if you are intrigued by English history and literature, if you value your peace of mind, cover your ears now. In the year 1900, a scholar noticed something about the King James translation of Psalm 46. Something terrifying, something wonderful. The 46th word from the beginning of Psalm 46 is shake. The 46th word from the end is spear. There are only two possibilities here. Either this is the finest coincidence ever recorded in the history of world literature, or it is not. The Earth revolves around only one sun and has only one moon. The moon happens to be 400 times
その
smaller
話、
than the
一
sun.
応月の月食の話から始まっているので、突然こう
And the apparent
月とか
paths
太陽
of
の
the moon
話
and
が
sun in
あ
our
っても
sky
お
happen
か
to
しくはないんで
intersect
すね。
exactly twice every month, which means that every now and then, at long yet precisely predictable
エビ
intervals,
ナ運転
the lunar disk slips across the face of the sun and just barely conceals it for a few wonderful, terrible minutes. A fine coincidence, no? In June of 1977, a little man with divergent eyes and a talent for mischief ascended a hilltop in the British village of Ampthill. At the summit of this hill is a tall, slender cross, a memorial to Catherine of
そうで
Aragon,
す。ここは私にとってファーストプレイスです。
The sun, high in the south, cast the shadow of the cross upon the grassy hillside. At exactly 12 noon, the man removed from his pocket a bar magnet. He turned the magnet so its north pole was facing south and buried it under the shadow of the cross. 2 years later, a few hours before the publication of his first book, the man returned to that hillside, this time in the dead of
お
night.
ー、ようやく終わ
He
り
used
そう
a
だ。
compass to locate the magnet he had buried. In that same place, he dug a hole in the ground and placed inside a ceramic container inscribed with the following words: I am the keeper of the jewel of masquerade, which lies waiting safe inside me for you or eternity.
なるほどな。いや、長かったですね。でも、面白い話でもあった。途中、自分の話ばっかりしてたけど。最長の風景パズルでした。お風呂上がりのウイニャン、もふもふしたい。いえいえ、皆様もお疲れ様でした。で、多分、この上に上がる方法とかが、おそらく何かであるはず？これは視点になるとは思えないな。
And so, by a backhanded, upside-down argument, was predicted that there is
この緑が気になるから、やっぱ、
an experiment in laboratory.
何か色が変わる条件がある？
Well, that's no better a solution.
So it's absolutely simple.
また全部見なきゃいけないパターンかな。よし、仕方ない。この上に上がる方法を探しましょう。少なくとも、頭ウィットネス検定クリアしたので、ようやくクリアしたので、きっと何かどこからが入れる場所を見つけられないと、見つけないといけない。まあ、真上っていうとここなんですよね。ということは、いや、まさかな。風景パズル他のやつを全部埋めてこいっていう話なのかな。そうだとすると、いくつか残ってるのがあるのは事実なんですが、残り1秒多分切ってましたね、あれ。ほんとギリギリだった。多分音途切れたところで、ポインって入りましたからね。あれはほんとギリギリだったと思う。そうですね、頭ウィットネスの一員になりましたね。ババイズユーも今日やったんですが、いやー難しいですね。頭ウィットネス的な難しさを感じる。こっち側。頭ババ。新しい世界が待っている。なんていうか、ボールはババでできていたとか。いや、できてないので、なるほど。 像風景パズルはまだですね。あれやるにはこの配信枠では足りないんじゃないかなって思って。ああ、そうなんですね。
Better squeeze some life.
By definition, not.
Way to get a
やっぱ緑のやつですか。なるほど。あー、釣れた。
By your interpretation of them. Things like that. As opposed to this. Know what it is? It's a bunch of them. Made third hand. By your interpretation of them. Things like that. As opposed to this. Know what it is? It's a bunch of meat. Second-hand views of words. Made third hand. By your interpretation of them. Things like that. As opposed to this. Know what it is? It's a bunch of amino acids. Know what it is?
あれ？
It's a bunch of amino acids. The stuff that goes to build up a worm, or a geranium, or you. Made third hand by your interpretation of them. Things like that. As opposed to this. Know what it is? It's a bunch of amino acids. Stuff that goes to build up a worm.
こっちか。あれ？ 短くない？いやー、難しい。ポーズ機能が欲しい。そう、綺麗な円になってない。近いんだけど違う。
Second-hand views of the world, made third-hand by your interpretation of them. Things like that, as opposed
なるほど。
ideology, and leaves only what is demonstrably true about the world. And the reason why so many people may be thinking about throwing away those crutches is because
これを他になんかあるかな？あー、でもここありそう。いけましたね。
And the reason why so many people may be thinking about throwing away those crutches is because, thanks to science,
どう当てはめるのかな？
so much, and that if they are to have more say in what happens to their lives, more freedom to develop their abilities, by your interpretation of them, things like that, as opposed to this. Know what it is? It's a bunch of amino acids. The stuff that goes to build up a worm, or a geranium, or you. This stuff's easier to take. Understand?
こっちは運が良かった。
It's hard to take because it removes the reassuring crutches of
Essentially, a lot of protons, neutrons, and electrons.
これは関係なさそうですね。 からもあるのか。恐ろしい。恐ろしいな。あ、これか。裏面か。ひどい。これもう一個あるって言ってる。ないのかな。この写し方だとなさそうですね。いけなさそうですね。これはもうやったやつか。上の階上がれるところを探さないといけないですね。やっぱりな、それはなんとなくわかってたけど。やっぱりこっちに出入り口あるんですね。となるとここかな。でもここもパズルというか、いやパズルかを解放しないと開かないはずなんですよね。 こですね。なるほど。もしかして、ここではなさそうですね。でもなんとなくここに道がありますね。街の地下はあれですよね。ミュージアムがあって、地下に入れるところ、いくつか確かにありますね。そう言われてみると、確か、どれだっけな。 れかな？これがそうだったよな。ということは検定のところからレコード。あ、この池入れるんだ。12レコーダー？栃木レコーダー。 完全クリアとはレコードも含むのか。マジ？含まないといいな。水中ってことはこっちじゃなくて、そうですね。はい。これがクリアタイムです。ご察しください。あ、しかも今、これ黒点じゃなくなってる。でも解いてあることになってるのか。失礼しました。水中にレコーダー。なんか血を吸わない蚊が同居していて非常に嫌。手前あたり。全然違う方に行ってた。やっぱプイーンじゃないですか、蚊は。は、なんかハエとか、そんな大きさのような気がする。これかな?
I cannot understand why we idle discussing religion. If we are honest, and scientists have to be, we must admit that religion is a jumble of false assertions with no basis in reality. The very idea of God is a product of the human imagination. It is quite understandable why primitive people, who were so much more exposed to the overpowering forces of nature than we are today, should have personified these forces in fear and trembling. But nowadays, when we understand so many natural processes, we have no need for such solutions. I can't, for the life of me, see how the postulate of an almighty God helps us in any way. What I do see is that this assumption leads to such unprotected questions as to why God allows so much misery, injustice, the exploitation of the poor and the rich, and all the other horrors he might have prevented. If religion is still being taught, it is by no means because its ideas still convince us, but simply because some of us want to keep the lower classes quiet. Quiet people are much easier to govern than clamorous and dissatisfied ones. They are also much easier to exploit. Religion is a kind of opium that allows a nation to lull itself into wishful dreams and so forget the injustices that are being perpetrated against the people. Paul Dirac, 1927, as related by Werner Heisenberg. So, You see what I'm saying here?
Yep, this one doesn't fit either.
How would you characterize the way in which it doesn't fit?
Well,
なんだこれは。
about arguing. And it's about being greatly disturbed by issues that are relatively small. It's not aiming high. It's not about ultimate truth, not really. It's mostly about what some stupid people are doing that is wrong compared to what I am doing that is right.
But Portarak was definitely a
こういうことだったのか。
at least.
Yeah, but I don't feel that attitude in this piece at all. If a belief is just formed in opposition to other beliefs, it can't be fundamental. It can't be that deep. But, you know, where he says the thing about natural processes, he starts to outline an actual philosophy.
Interesting. There's something that could stand on its own, that it isn't just rejection and opposition.
ですよね。
Well, this isn't the atheist manifesto we need. I'll keep looking.
Okay.
You know, at one point Dirac also wrote this. One could perhaps describe the situation by saying that God is a mathematician of a very high order, and he used very advanced mathematics in constructing the universe. I think he meant God
一度
was
か勘で解いてしまったけど。
Same guy.
Same guy. Later in life, though. And people are strange. Scientists are stranger.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, ほんと適当に解いたら解けてしまったっていう謎のひどい状態になってしまった。
Take place to you. 5 meters away. 10 meters
逃した。
But it is the only.
Any questions about what I just said? Let me say it again.
やりました。
You already are everything you want, only maybe not in the way you imagine what you want. And it's that imagination itself that keeps you from discovering that you already are everything you want.
ちょっと無茶がありますかね。
Experiment. To give up
ですよね。
any image
ちょ
of what you
グラデーションの一つとして考えてくれないかなと思ったけど、さすがにそこまで甘くはなかった。
relationship thought.
確かに。でも石ゆっきーさんがレコーダーって言ってるんですよね。 左下、どうすればいいんだ、これ。一つ足りないよな。ここではない可能性。3円触れてた。ーっと。まあ、こうですよね。本当だ。さて、こっからなるほど。どこに繋がったのかな？ここか。なるほど。以前に比べると、なんか、こうすればいいっていうのが、教わった通りに出せるようになってきた気がする。こっちじゃないや。一 ってない場所はあるけれど、見つけられないものはたくさんあるんだ。図鑑さんはどれだっけ？これじゃない。これでもない。一番左か。なるほど。ウィニャンの言ってた肌色の方が近い可能性あるっていうことを考えると、この色なんじゃないかなーって。はい。頭が視点説。
Is the key to everything. How easy is it for knowledge to spread? And that in the past, the people who made change happen were the people who had that knowledge, whether they were craftsmen or kings. Today, the people who make things change, people who have that knowledge.
レーザー復活のヒントのやつの近くにあったレコーダー。
Before you say, what about the Beethovens and the Michelangelos? Let me suggest something with which you may disagree violently. That at best, the products of human emotion, art,
コンテナの中ですかね。
interpretations of the world that tell you more about the guy who's talking than about the world he's talking about. Second-hand views of the world, made third-hand by your interpretation of them. Things like that. As opposed to this. Know what it is? It's a bunch of amino acids. The stuff that goes to build up a worm, or a geranium, or you. This stuff is prepared.
なんか攻略動画でも見たのっていうレベルでうまくいきましたね。何なんだろうこれ。本当に攻略動画とか予習とかしてないんですよ。本当にしてないんですけど、ここまでジャストミートするとちょっと驚く。なんだこれ。コンテナの足元っていうと、ここじゃなくて、視線の方が寄ってきましたね、今の。はいはいはいはい。納得しました。それは聞いてないですね。むしろそんなとこにもあったのかっていう。
I thought my voyage had come to its end, at the last limit of my power, that the path before me was closed, the provisions exhausted, and the time come to take shelter in silent obscurity. But I find that thy will knows no end in me, and when words die out on the tongue, new melodies break forth from the heart, and where old tracks are lost, new country is revealed with its wonders.
漢字間違えた。 だ全部は回収できてないんですよね。ということはやっぱこっちかな。うん。よし。戻った。裏面が見つけるコツ。なるほど。なるほど、なるほど。場所とかなんとなく分かった気がする。レコーダー。
The concept of a clock enfolds all
レコーダー多すぎじゃないですか
In
ね。
concept, the 6th hour is not earlier than the 7th or 8th, although the clock never strikes the hour, save when the concept biddeth. Nicholas of Cusa, 1450.
That's mine, you know.
Yeah. Well, I have some ideas about it, and I just wanted to give it a try.
これどうつなげるんだ？
Next thing I know, you'll be taking over all the Kuza pieces.
え？
What kind of ideas?
I don't know.
な
Sometimes you try,
るほ
right?
ど。
Like, with anything creative.
Did you feel this way before your trip to the island? Or after?
Well, I think after. Yeah, mostly after. I had a seed of it before, even back when I first heard the piece, when you first picked it out. But I didn't really notice then. Now it's like the princess and the pea. I don't mean to be stepping on your toes, though. Really, the drive is personal. I wanted to record this one, so I can hear it the way I want to hear it. Just to set something for myself.
Okay. I'm gonna file this under the category of good problems to have. Your attitude to the piece changed or clarified. That means it's working.
4つもこのタワーにあったとは。
Back when we started, I would have counted us lucky to ever get this far.
あともう一つ。
But here we are.
Here we are. Record away.
いや、何も引っかかるところはなかったですね。
My aversive feelings.
なんでしょうね。
You're welcome.
場所がちょっと微妙にずれてたとかなのかな。さて、黄色の動くパネル。なるほど。わお。なんであそこで引っかかったんだ？円になってるけど、棒が邪魔。おー、こうなるのか。 前は苦汁を飲んだあの問題も今ではそこそこ簡単に解けるようになりました。さて、最後の一つは多分これ中なんでしょうね。でも中に波線を通すようなところ、綺麗な円にはなってないのか、ここのせいで。反射板だって？反射板っていうと2つありますよね。この反射板と、そういえばここのくぼみのやつやってないですね。多分2種類あるんじゃないかな。1個はこの丸の視点の部分と、おそらくもう一つあるんじゃないかなって思ってるけれど、 こが支点になりそうな。じゃないと、この雲が白い理由が、わかんないんですよね。それか、このパズルじゃなければ、ちょっと遠いですからね、場所が。そうなると、始まる場所が遠すぎて、別のオベリスクの管轄になっちゃうかな。この上かな。これではないとすればこっちかな。あれ？もう時間過ぎてるじゃないですか。やだー。終わりますか。発火できるまで、ここが、あと、一つかな？一つですね。で、もう一つが、同じく一つで、いや、全然気づいてませんでした。で、最後残ってるのが、ここが6個ぐらい残ってるのかな。あ、終わってた、ここ。ということで、あと2つ風景パズルを見つければ、おそらく完成なのではないかなと思います。ようやくここまで来た。皆さんのおかげです。明日が最終日、どうでしょうね。ここの風景パズルもほとんど分かってないですし、こういう形、場所としては多分この辺なんだろうっていうのは予想ついてるんですけど、あとはさっきの波線ですねが残っているので、どちらも見当がまだ片方はついてるけど片方はついてないので、山間部ですかね。いや、探して全然見つからないからほぼ諦めてたんですけどね。 山頂？山頂だと。確かに足の長いのは山頂っぽいけど、山頂？ういにゃん、山頂。山頂？山頂は確かにこねくり回すようには見てないので、わーお。場所が分かってれば、ある程度見当つけたら、もう、頭ウィットネスになりかけなのかな。ありがとうございます。あと一つになりました。確かに明日が最終日になるのかな。頭ウィットネスかな。それはやりました。1時間待つっていうやつは、確か5分から15分ぐらいでできました。なんか、すごく運が良くて。1時間待つのってそうなんだ。あれ、1時間も待ってたの？その間リスナーさんずっと見てたのか。僕の来歴みたいな話を聞きながら。そうか。まあ、今日のところは終わっておきましょう。最後までご覧いただきありがとうございました。大変大きな進捗がありましてよかったです。ということで、本日の配信は、本日じゃないですね。今回の配信はここまでさせていただきます。ありがとうございました。なるほど。お疲れ様です。では、またよろしければご覧ください。おやすみなさい。またねー。